Hello, back again on the Top Recap channel. This time I will tell a movie's entitled All the Devil's Men. Let's get straight into the storyline. The film opens with the introduction of Jack, a former American Marine now working as a hitman. He is currently on assignment in Morocco, tasked with eliminating a target. After completing his morning workout, Jack checks his laptop and receives intel from his client. The target will arrive at the airport at 11 a.m. and is heading to a hotel. The client instructs Jack to eliminate the target before he reaches the hotel. The target, Omar, is revealed to be a terrorist leader responsible for orchestrating numerous attacks in the United States. Upon receiving the information, Jack quickly gears up and heads to the airport. Omar soon arrives, accompanied by several bodyguards, and begins his journey to the hotel. Jack observes from a distance, ready to strike. However, two local detectives notice Jack's suspicious behavior and begin tailing him. Realizing he's being pursued, Jack finds himself in a high-stakes chase through the streets. He eventually abandons his car and flees on foot through a narrow alley, where a backup vehicle has been prearranged by his client. Jack narrowly escapes the detectives and continues to follow Omar to the hotel. As Omar's convoy arrives, Jack positions himself nearby. Using an advanced smartphone provided by his client, he remotely locks all of Omar's vehicles for 20 seconds. Within that window, Jack closes in and successfully assassinates Omar. Following the mission, Jack meets with his handler, Lee, a CIA operative who regularly hires him for covert operations. Lee briefs him on his next assignment, another high-value target located in England. She instructs Jack to fly out immediately. On board the plane, Jack notices two other hitmen, also contracted by Lee. She informs Jack that this mission will require teamwork, which Jack initially resists. He prefers to work alone. However, Lee explains that the target is an international arms dealer named McKnight, who supplies weapons to terrorist groups and was even behind an assassination attempt on the U.S. president. The operation is too dangerous for Jack to handle solo. Lee then shows Jack a photo of McKnight and explains that a man named Hassan may know his current location. Tracking Hassan will be their first step. She also presents photos of Hassan's known associates. Among them, Jack recognizes Dayton, a former British soldier Jack once saved during the war in Afghanistan. Jack decides to contact Dayton, believing he can help locate Hassan. Once in England, Jack and his two new partners travel to Dayton's residence. On the way, one of the hitmen brings up Jack's family, mentioning that his wife just gave birth a few days ago. He questions why Jack doesn't retire and be with them. Jack replies that he plans to retire and return to the U.S. after completing this final mission. Upon arrival, Dayton welcomes Jack warmly, remembering their time in Afghanistan. Jack explains the mission. They're working under the CIA to eliminate an arms dealer named McKnight. However, to locate McKnight, they must first find Hassan. Dayton responds that he knows Hassan and where he might be, but warns Jack that Hassan is like a brother to him. If Jack intends to harm him, Dayton won't cooperate. Jack explained that their real target wasn't Hassan, but the mafia boss. He assured that they only intended to interrogate Hassan and wouldn't harm him. Hearing this, Dayton finally agreed to take Jack and his two partners to Hassan's residence. Meanwhile, McKnight summoned one of his subordinates who had been caught betraying him. After a brief interrogation, McKnight gave the order without hesitation. His men were to eliminate the traitor. Back with Jack and his team, Dayton was leading them to Hassan's residence.
Almost there, mate.
But upon arrival, it became clear that Dayton and Hassan had secretly conspired with McKnight.
We gotta catch the prick first.
A shootout broke out. During the chaos, one of Jack's partners was killed by Dayton. Just as Jack prepared to retaliate, police sirens blared in the distance. He had no choice but to escape with his remaining partner. Soon after, Jack and his surviving partner met with Lee. Jack informed her that Dayton had betrayed them and killed one of their teammates. At the same time, Dayton approached McKnight and reported that the CIA had sent 3 hitmen to eliminate him. He claimed to have already taken out one, leaving only 2. McKnight then ordered Dayton to finish the job quickly, promising him a large bonus. It was revealed that Dayton owned a private security company, which McKnight had been hiring for personal protection while in England. Meanwhile, Lee uncovered the truth. Dayton's security firm was indeed the one guarding McKnight. She also managed to track down Dayton's secret office. Without delay, she contacted Jack and Samuelson and informed them of her findings. She instructed them to infiltrate the Dayton company's office to gather intel on McKnight. On the way, Jack managed to get Dayton on the phone. He confronted him about working with the mafia. Dayton brushed it off, saying it was just business, and warned Jack to return to America before it was too late. Jack's response was cold and direct. He would kill Dayton first and bury him. Jack and Samuelson arrived near Dayton's secret office and sneaked inside, searching for any useful information. But Dayton, monitoring the CCTV footage, quickly spotted the intrusion and sent his men there immediately. Unfortunately, Jack and Samuelson found nothing. So instead, they planted a bomb and made their escape. From a safe distance, they waited and watched as Dayton and his troops arrived. Samuelson detonated the bomb, destroying the office. Furious, Dayton swore he would hunt them down and kill them both. Jack and Samuelson, on the other hand, felt satisfied and took a shortcut to get away. An hour later, Jack asked Samuelson to send a taunting message to Dayton. Once received, Dayton ordered his hacker to trace the phone. After locating their position, Dayton mobilized all of his men and began the hunt. But this was all part of Jack's plan. He told Samuelson to contact Lee again, asking her to find a location where they could face Dayton's troops on their own terms. After checking several sites, Lee suggested they lure the enemies to an abandoned factory not far from their base. She also promised to send 2 CIA agents to support them. Jack and Samuelson arrived at the factory shortly after and met the 2 CIA agents sent by Lee. Wasting no time, they readied their weapons and entered the factory, prepared for what was coming, guided by Lee. Shortly after, Dayton's men arrived at the factory and began infiltrating the building. As the battle was about to erupt, Lee reminded Jack and Samuelson to capture Dayton alive because he was the only one who knew McKnight's location. But before she could guide them further, Lee's connection was suddenly cut off. Despite the setback, Jack and Samuelson managed to overpower Dayton and take him into custody. However, during the chaos, Samuelson was shot, forcing Jack to shift priorities and focus on saving him. As the situation worsened, the 2 decided to retreat from the factory. An hour later, the bodies of the 2 CIA agents sent by Lee were discovered, both killed in the incident. Dayton had taken one of their phones and used it to contact Lee. Over the call, he threatened to eliminate Jack and Samuelson next and then come for her. Lee remained unfazed. She warned him that the CIA wouldn't stop hunting him down unless he agreed to cooperate. Dayton hesitated, but then made an offer. He would work with the CIA, as long as the deal was mutually beneficial. He later met Lee at a secret location and offered to hand over McKnight. On one condition, she had to pay him double what McKnight was paying.
Get me McKnight in the warhead, and I'll triple whatever he's paying you.
On top of that, Dayton demanded that Jack and Samuelson be turned over to him, claiming they had destroyed his company office. We didn't hesitate. Driven by a personal vendetta against McKnight, she was willing to do whatever it took to bring him down. That night, under Lee's orders, Jack and Samuelson were sent to raid a boat docked by the lake. We believed McKnight was hiding there. They quietly approached the vessel and eliminated several guards, but McKnight was nowhere to be found. Only a few of his henchmen remained. As they prepared to withdraw, Dayton's men suddenly surrounded them, and a firefight broke out. During the chaos, Dayton taunted Samuelson, provoking him. Humiliated, Samuelson recklessly emerged from cover, firing in all directions.
What the fuck are you doing?
But he soon ran out of ammunition and found himself cornered. With no other option, he challenged Dayton to a hand-to-hand fight. Dayton accepted. At first, Samuelson had the upper hand, but in a dirty move, Dayton pulled a gun mid-fight and shot him dead.
Samuelson's dead.
Now alone, Jack made the call not to risk his life further. With Dayton's forces still overwhelming, he escaped. He returned to Lee with grim news. Samuelson was dead, and McKnight had not been on the boat. Lee appeared to regret the faulty intel and apologized, but in truth, she had lied. She had deliberately sent Jack and Samuelson into a trap, ensuring Dayton's men would be waiting. Unaware of the betrayal, Jack still hadn't suspected that Lee and Dayton were secretly working together. Meanwhile, Dayton was being berated by McKnight. The mission to eliminate Jack had failed, and McKnight was furious. He had paid Dayton a fortune and now feared Jack might come for him. To reassure him, Dayton promised to assign his 2 best men as bodyguards, while he led the rest of his troops to hunt Jack down. Back with Lee, she proposed another plan: find Dayton's family. She believed that if they took his family hostage, Dayton would be forced to give up McKnight. After a brief search, Jack and Lee located the address of Dayton's family home. Jack was hesitant. He didn't want innocent people caught in the crossfire. But Lee persuaded him, and he reluctantly agreed. As Jack headed out, Lee sent a secret message to Dayton. It was all a setup. Learning of the trap, Dayton ordered his men to intercept Jack before he reached the house.
Take him down.
Sure enough, Jack was ambushed on the road, but he held his ground, easily defeating the attackers. He even took one of them hostage, demanding to know how they knew he was headed for Dayton's family home. At that moment, the terrified man confessed that Lee had been the one who provided the information. Realizing this, Jack took the man's phone and sent a message to Dayton, pretending to be the man and claiming that Jack had been killed. Dayton was pleased to receive the message. He now moved forward with his plan to trap McKnight and deliver him to Lee. He contacted Lee and informed her that Jack had been eliminated, then asked her to go to McKnight's hideout. Before ending the call, Dayton reminded her to bring the payment as agreed. Soon after, Dayton's men arrived at the hideout. However, McKnight had already escaped, and the 2 guards assigned to watch over him were found dead. Around the same time, Lee arrived and was visibly disappointed. She had sacrificed Jack, only to have McKnight slip away. Dayton tried to calm Lee and immediately ordered his team to track McKnight down. Eventually, his hacker discovered that McKnight was heading to a small airport. Suddenly, Lee received a phone call from McKnight. He asked her to turn up the volume. On the line, McKnight revealed that he had known all along about Dayton's secret dealings with Lee. He also told her that Dayton was being used. Lee had no intention of paying the full amount. Why? Because this wasn't an official CIA operation. It was personal. Lee wanted revenge because McKnight had killed her father. Realizing the truth, Lee took one of Dayton's men hostage. Moments later, Jack reappeared, causing chaos. In the confusion, Lee eliminated all of Dayton's remaining men while Jack fought Dayton. Eventually, Jack killed him. With Dayton gone, Jack and Lee headed to the airport to pursue McKnight. Although Jack was aware of Lee's betrayal, he stayed professional. She had, after all, been a long-time client who gave him many jobs. Lee apologized repeatedly, but Jack remained silent. Meanwhile, McKnight had arrived at the airport, preparing to fly from England to Russia. His name told him the plane would arrive in 20 minutes. Not long after, Jack and Lee arrived. Jack told Lee to stay in the car while he handled things. Jack infiltrated the area and planted a bomb. As the sound of the incoming plane echoed, Jack moved in, but was spotted. A gunfight broke out. Jack detonated the bomb and rushed to the runway to stop McKnight. He fought McKnight's bodyguards in another intense shootout. As McKnight tried to board the plane, he urged the pilot to take off. Jack managed to take down the remaining guards and block the plane using a nearby vehicle. Seeing the plane was stuck, McKnight came out and engaged Jack in a final fight. Just then, Lee appeared and rammed her car into Jack, saving him, as one of McKnight's bodyguards had still been alive. Lee then took her shot and killed McKnight. But the victory came at a price. We had been hit by several bullets. As she lay dying, she thanked Jack for helping her get revenge. Jack felt a mix of sadness and regret. Lee was dead, and he wouldn't be paid. Still, Jack boarded the plane and ordered the pilot to fly him back to America. His mood changed when he discovered McKnight's money aboard. With a fortune at his feet, Jack smiled. He could now return to his family without worries.